Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast. I am your host, Renae, and today I have Kelly as the guest, although she's kind of my co-host today.
Aww, that's
Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've liked the band, and all that fun stuff.
My name is Kelly Cohn. I've been a fan of the band since 91, really, since the very beginning. Kind of inadvertently discovered them at a bar that I shouldn't have been at, and the next year went to Summerfest and saw them and was like, hey, that's that band from that bar, and here we are. So
here we are.
Yeah, 130 shows I think I'm at later, and countless friendships, a life partner, crazy Florida, here we are. So
all because of music, right?
All because of this band, which is crazy.
I mean, if someone would have told you in 1991, 92, hell, 1998, that, hey, this band is going to allow you to meet some of your best friends, your future life partner, and will fill your heart and soul, would you have believed that?
Probably no.
No. That sounds like a lot on music, right? Like, does music have the power to do all of that? Well, Kelly, I think hell yeah it does. Hell yeah it does. It is.
It does. You just have to open yourself up to it.
That's right. That's right. It's just been an amazing ride. And of course, I got to meet you. I got to meet Aaron, who is your partner. And you know what? Here's the deal. Your relationship is going to go from only knowing life with this band into eventually knowing life without this band live. So,
right.
Wow.
Right.
That, I mean, you know, it's good to have a partner that can understand your feelings when we go into that. That can.
And I think too, I know I've talked to other people that really treasure this band, and without saying it, knowing that eventually the end will come. Like, there's a lot of people that have been embracing new bands too, which I think is really great. And honestly, it kind of brought a tear to my eye when I found out about it. Now, this has been like a year ago now, but like our love of the band Mountjoy as a result of both of us seeing them in Mexico for the first time. I think it's 3 years ago now. Actually headlined a Mexico trip at the beginning of January, just like 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So they started out as an opener for Dave and Tim, and now they have their own like whole weekend. And it's just like, when I found out, because Mountjoy means so much to me and to Aaron, like I literally like got teary. I'm like, I can't believe it. It's literally like a closed circle moment. You know, you start hearing them, you always hope to get there, and they did it. And that, I'll tell you what, not to veer off topic, but we saw them at the Salt Shed New Year's Eve a year ago. And then when we saw them again live this past summer, I was like, holy shit, they're a different band. Like, I didn't think they could get better. Both Mexico that we're about to experience, and then Gorge, you know, like, because those are really the only two shows he does openers. So
yeah, he does really introduce a lot of really good music to us, you know, his fans, and so we're thankful that he's open to do that. And you know, back in the day, he used to have openers, but now they're just so big. When would you think the last time that that the Dave Matthews Band had an opener? Like, how many years do you think it's been since they kind of stopped doing that? I don't know. I really don't.
I'd have to sit down and really think about that, because like,
has it been longer than like 10 years, 20 years? Like, what do you think? I have no idea.
Because I'm thinking back to like 2010 was Caravan, and that was a festival though, so that doesn't super count because, you know, it's a variety of bands at that.
We don't have to know the answer. Or just,
but I feel like it's definitely before 2010. I don't know the answer like exactly.
Yeah, we don't have to know the answer. But hey, if you're listening to this and you know the answer, write in to the Space Between podcast and say, hey, this was the last time they had an opener. I love that information. I know Kelly does too. And so if we get it, just stay tuned and I'll read it on the next episode so that if you listen to these consistently, you can know the answer to that trivia question, because that just came out of nowhere. I was like, these are the things that wake me up at night, Kelly. Like, oh my, random Dave Matthews Band stuff. Like, when was the last time they had an opener? When was the last time they played 41?
I'm going to be in the middle of a Wednesday tonight, literally, and be like, Aaron, it was this year. Like,
you are. You are. And please text me. I don't care if it's like 4:15 in the morning. Just be like, it's been 23 years, and I'll be like, okay, and then I can sleep, and I'll probably rest better knowing, honestly.
Seriously.
Things that are in my head. But guys, so if you're listening to this, obviously the title of this is Mexico 2025. So we're here to talk about that. Mexico 2025 is the first Dave Matthews Band related event of the year. So we're really excited to talk about starting out 2025 with two members of the Dave Matthews Band. Of course, Mr. David John Matthews himself and Timothy Reynolds. That doesn't sound, I don't know. I like Tim Reynolds. Timothy Reynolds. Timothy and David.
Right? That sounds like a grandpa or something. I don't know.
Well, they probably are. So, Dave and Tim, this is not your first year to go. When was your very first year to go to Dave and Tim in Cancun? It's Riviera Maya, but basically Cancun.
My first year was 2022. I believe. This is my fourth year, so 2022. Awesome. And that year was kind of crazy because it was still COVID times, and like I just remember we had to test and have a negative test. I feel like it was within 48 hours of you departing.
Oh my gosh.
It was like super stressful because like you could have it and then not be able to go.
Yeah.
And then additionally you had to test to leave. So if you got it while you were there, you couldn't leave. And they would quarantine you in like a room until you tested negative. And it was like a whole thing. Like that year, a lot of people ended up selling or didn't go. I mean, the page of, buy my package page on the Facebook group or whatever was super long that year for sure. Because people were like, we're not putting up with this, we're not going to.
Sure.
But for us, it ended up being fine. But it was a little bit stressful for that 48 hours for sure.
Right. So then
rely on Walgreens or whoever you went to get the results back to you in time to prove it to whatever your carrier was. So
that was also stressful. I'm so glad that we are not in a place where we're having to do that right now. And I hope that we never have to experience that again, because that was really, really awful.
Yeah. It's funny because until you asked me that question, I didn't remember that. You know what I mean? Because it seems like it was so long ago, but it really wasn't. But
it seems like 20 years ago. When just talking about 2020 seems like forever ago, just because of all the things we went through for basically 2 to 3 years. I feel like it made me older. It's crazy.
I got more gray hair, that's for sure.
Definitely. But so 2023 must have been just so much better for you going back and not having that fear or those testing procedures that you had to have done. So was it better for you 2023?
Yeah, I think 2022 was stressful because it was my first time. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know the right things. You can read all you want about the right things to pack, and for me at that time I was definitely an overpacker, and I brought way more things than I needed or whatever, but it didn't matter. I think that too much emphasis is put on whatever you're bringing and whatever, and just bring what you want and have a good time,
Right. No, everybody does it different.
If you have a backpack,
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about, we have a group chat. So Kelly and Aaron and I and Christine are all in a room this year, 2025. And so we have like this group chat going. And I don't remember how the text opened today, but it was basically like, I almost want to pull it out. Something about, everyone in the room is bringing like a backpack, basically. And here I am. I'm like, I got 2 check bags, a backpack, and a carry-on. What the fuck? Hey, if you need something, I'm your girl. I got it. I got a monkey costume that's coming. I am down.
Bring what you need.
I need it.
Everything's like packed into. I have it right back there. It's my carry-on, and it kind of looks dad bodish. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm like, I actually said to Aaron, I'm like, do you think this is okay? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the carry-on is dad bodish because it's like,
yes.
But it's still fit in the overhead. Hopefully, we'll see. But like,
it will. You just gotta jam it in there just right. So why in the world?
I just don't. I don't want to check a bag.
I get it. I totally get it. So tell us, like, what do you think the draw to Mexico is? If somebody's listening to this and either A, this is their first year, or they're just listening to this as we approach going to Mexico, or B, they've never been, paint us a picture of like why you chose to go and why you continue to choose to go back.
Mm-hmm. So I think what's great about this community, and especially like the different places we end up going, is that each place we go kind of has a different group of our friends that we see at these specific, like Mexico Gorge, like DC for me. Aaron doesn't usually go to Deer Creek, but like Deer Creek for me, and like the Texas shows for him. And like those people, like, they become part of your family. And like you may not be able to see them at any other venue but Mexico or at Gorge or whatever. So after the first year, I think like what I love the most about it is specifically about Mexico that's not like a lot of the other shows, is that, you can just be whoever you want. Like you go in there, you might want to be fancy one night and go to like a fancy dinner or whatever, and then go to a show. Or you can go in there, spend the whole day at the pool, get wasty as you want, crawl back to the room, maybe take a nap, maybe not, keep your bathing suit on, maybe change, who cares, and then roll to the show. And like if you decide that you're like not feeling it, or you don't feel good, or like really did it too much, you can go back to the room. Whereas like a lot of places you can't do that. Like obviously you can't like exit a venue and then go back, or in this circumstance you can, which is amazing. And then let's not forget the fact that you literally are standing on a beach watching your favorite person that performs, like for me, Dave's my favorite of all of the bands, Yeah. And you could literally be on one side of the stage, which is all beach. You can be on the other side of the stage where you're in the ocean, like your feet are in the ocean, watching your favorite like person perform. It's just... Mexico just doesn't get any better. And like literally it is expensive, but like every year we're like, we're not going to do Mexico this year. Like we're not going to do it. And then it comes up and we're like, we're going to do Mexico this year. Because it's just like when you see everyone like packing and talking about it, and friends start texting like, if we weren't going, I would be like, this is the worst,
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like once you go once, you have to keep going. Like,
that's the hard thing is, I always tell people like, just go once, like just so you can experience. But the thing is, it's like going, if you go, you're going to want to go back because you know how different it is, how special it is, how... I always have called it, since I got to go my first time in 2024, I call it the Dave and Tim Conference, because that's what it feels like to me. As far as like anything I've ever experienced before, like, yeah, the concert's a concert, but like the whole rest of the day is kind of like, okay, I've checked in at this hotel for my conference. I've got like my name badge. I got like my swag or whatever, got all checked in, and like, it's all kind of weird. And like, you go through all these lines. And then you get settled, but you notice, okay, look, there's a schedule of things to do. Oh, looky here, there's an actual scheduled event where the official photographer from the Dave Matthews Band is going to actually like do a speech, and you can go and learn more about the band. And so there's all these little breakout sessions that are cool for those people who really don't want to be in the sun for 12 hours or just want to be indoors because it's raining that day or whatever. There's just so many things to do. Tie-dye classes. Name some of the things that I'm trying to think of all the things. There's so many things.
The whiskey swap or taste testing. They have the tie-dye is really cool. They have like guitar, like playing sessions on the beach. Like each pool that like the Nizuk pool does pool parties like with the openers. That's super cool. Swag swap, super fun. There's just all kinds of different things you can do. I mean, you know, and let's not forget that the restaurants are amazing. And that's the difference. Like when you go to the Gorge, like you're going to you know, we usually do an RV, so we'll run an RV and then we do like a whole Walmart order and order all that stuff, and you're like bring what you want for the weekend, you know, and usually we try to be around people that we know so it can be just one big like family and we share all our stuff together, but like sometimes it doesn't super work out. It has for us, luckily, but Mexico, you just bring your shit and you roll. Like they have everything you could ever want to drink, eat, do, whatever. You don't have to pre-plan any of that. And so it just makes it easy, you know? Like,
and it's paid for. Like when you get there, you're done with the money unless you like want to do short excursion type things. I mean, so your food is covered, all your drinks are covered. They keep your refrigerator stocked with whatever. They learn your habits, and like if they notice all the Cokes are gone, that's what they're going to keep filling, is because they figured out that you like Coke. And so I found that the staff was very friendly, very helpful. Of course, yes, they are working for tips, as everyone is in the service industry. And so remembering to bring money for tipping is really important. So if you're headed to Mexico this year, that might be one thing that hasn't come up in a conversation that you've seen online is the tipping. I heard last year that the workers really appreciate getting a $2 bill just because it's something that they don't ever see. So I went to the bank before I left and got just $2 bills. And so I thought it was fun. It's something that blew me away and that is completely different than any concert that you and I will ever go to. Is at a typical concert, if you get thirsty, you have to leave your spot and go to concessions, get your drink, get your food, whatever. And then you're going to find your way. If you're in the pit, Lord Jesus, you got to find your way back to yours. It's going to be terrible. But not at Mexico, because they have waiters that come out in the sand where you're standing and are ready to be like, can I take your order? Can I take your order? And so obviously if you're tipping them, they are going to be fast and quick to do that the rest of the night. So you would never have to leave your spot and you could drink as much as you wanted. So it's just those little things that I never thought about that I was like, oh yeah, this is very, very nice. It is a VIP Dave and Tim experience. Everything is very, very nice. And that was some questions that I heard was just, tell me about the hotel. I think that, I haven't stayed at all three. There are 3 hotels that make up Moon Palace. Kelly, help me with the names of those. Those are...
So there's actually 4. There's the golf course, which is kind of like off-putting. And then there's the Grand, which is pretty far, the Nizuk, and then the Sunrise.
Okay.
And then the Sunrise is the only one I've ever stayed at, so I don't know much about the others, but I have been to the golf course for a dinner. I think the second year I went with a bunch of people, and it was super good, but it is a little bit off the beaten path. So but if I'm not mistaken, you get your own golf cart when you stay there.
Oh, that's
so you
awesome.
Can drive it into the show, or at least you have access to your own. You may have to pay extra for it, but that's super fun.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Rich from the Eddie Casino Band out in Las Vegas. We're really excited to get this journey going, celebrating our music, our original music, on all platforms. We just released our first single over Labor Day weekend called Eddie Casino. If you're looking for new music, look out for our next single coming out to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music. These guys in the band are really excited to get started playing music for you all. If you like Tom Petty, Zach Brown, Jason Mraz, Dave Matthews Band, Rob Thomas, Jimmy Buffett, Pink Floyd, Stapleton, Bare Naked Ladies, Goose, Billy Strings, Sting and the Police, a ton of influences that we bring to the table. Hope you enjoy our music and look forward to seeing you soon live on stage.
Yeah, well, and there's shuttles, from every hotel. If you catch a shuttle and say, "Hey, I need to go over to the Zook," it'll take you for free, or tip them, whatever your heart tells you to do. So there are so many restaurants, because there are 4 different hotels that opens you up. A lot of the restaurants are reservation. I won't say you have to, but highly encouraged if you want to get in, because they are really good. They are really nice. And that's part of the package that you paid for. So getting in there and really trying everything. There are some buffets and things like that. So, you can eat the way you want to eat. If you want to be fancy, cool. If you want to all you can eat buffet, cool. If you want room service, do it. Girl, I had room service every night after the show, whether I was hungry or not. I was like, I fucking paid for it. I'm getting room service every night. And I did. So get ready, because you're going to
And pro tip, I may regret saying this, but just kidding. I never regret it. Pro tip, order your stuff before you leave the show. If you're going straight back to your room, because if you've been overserved and you're like, I don't want to drink anymore tonight, I'm not going to the swing bar, whatever it is, not going to the club or whatever, and you just want to have some food and gas out, if you order as you're walking out of the venue, it'll be there by the time you get to your room.
Yeah, it was all so good. I made it my mission to try everything. I was like, again, why not?
Pretty awesome.
But there was some really, really great food, and so and I'm a picky eater. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to food, so I felt like I was eating really well. I definitely am down for a VIP party. That's the way I like to roll, Kelly. That's just the way. I like it. I like having a pool boy go, yes, I'll take another deck right here. Thank you. I know.
Mexico is just a different vibe altogether, and it's so good. It's just one of those things where I feel we're all, we've worked hard. We're all at this stage of the game where we've been through the younger years. We've been through a lot in our lives, all of us, really different things, and it's just a way to treat yourself. I feel I know Gorge, Mexico, we're saying, it's just a different animal. Get yourself a nice fly down there, meet some friends, maybe go before. A lot of people go to Isla Mujeres before. A big group of our friends are there now, and they went down a couple days before, and they're going to chill and relax before they get to the actual Moon Palace and, start all the festivities. And then some people do it after. They might stay a couple days after and, do the same thing, or go to, there's so many places around our resort that you can do the excursions. They're extra money, but they're worth it. Especially Chichen Itza, which is one of the wonders of the world. It is insane. It's breathtaking to go there. And the cenotes, there's just so much to do, excursion wise, if you want to get out, leave the hotel. Highly recommend, especially the cenotes are, each one you go to is different. They're never the same, and they're all so neat, just cool. You just don't see them anywhere else. So, in fact, we had one of Aaron's friends was over earlier, and we were describing to him one of the posters from this year, which is the danger that has the cenote. It's so beautiful, but we were describing to him the poster, and he had never heard of a cenote before. Because I don't think that they're anywhere else but Mexico, to be honest with you. Yeah, they're really cool. If you wanted to do an excursion, they're all safe. They take you out and, in a group, and they're all great. I've done quite a few excursions through what I did was a private guy, but, people from the hotel have been great too, from what I've understood.
Yeah. It really is a vacation with 2 of your favorite musicians, because this is definitely a vacation for sure. So, when I was thinking about Dave and Tim before I ever got to go, which I said last year was my first year, so 2024, going into it, I really had the mindset And I think a lot of people have the same mindset of, why would I pay all of this money? I understand that the hotel is so nice, and I understand that it's only going to be Dave people there, and there's just, so much of all that. But why would I choose to pay so much money to get there, to do the whole thing, when I could probably spend the same amount and see them, the whole band, multiple times in the United States? So why would I pay more to see only two players from the Dave Matthews Band? Kelly, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm going to tell you what I now think, but those were my thoughts going into Dave and Tim. Have you ever had to tell someone why that was special?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's definitely a question I think that people ask themselves and other people before they decide to go for the first time. For me, I wanted to experience it, so I wasn't like, oh, it's not the full band, although I love the full band. There's just nothing like some of those songs that they play all together, like Two Step is my song of life. And the second they go into it, like, it's just like instant,
Yeah.
It's just, but Dave and Tim hit different too. Like some of the songs that full band perform, when Dave and Tim perform them, it's almost like it's not the same song. And it's like, last year, I don't know, there were a couple, like he busted out Busted Stuff out of nowhere 2 years ago. And I literally had never heard it live in all of the times that I've been. And we were kind of a little bit further back, and he started playing it, and I looked at my friend and I was like, that's Busted Stuff. And she was like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. It's Busted Stuff. And then within 2 seconds later, everyone else realized it. And everyone was going crazy because literally so many of us didn't have it.
Yeah.
And we've been to all these shows, and so he busts out stuff that he doesn't play at a lot of the shows. Like he plays Dodo. Like I've been 3 times and I've heard Dodo 3 times, and all 3 times I've been in Mexico. So
he really
some songs that he's gonna bust out there, it's just worth it. And last year, 2 years ago, I think it was, they played Monsters for the first time live, and the crowd loved it so much. And that Dave never does this. He played it again the next night.
Yeah, wow.
He's like, I know that I never play the same song twice in a weekend, but we're doing that. We're changing.
I didn't even realize that. I'm sure I heard of it when it happened, but I'm not remembering that. Wow. Yeah, that is something that he doesn't typically do.
And to be honest with you, that song hits different acoustic. And you're not going to hear it unless you go to see Dave and Tim.
That is true. That is true. I can see how there's a couple of things now that I have seen it. And of course, I felt bad even feeling that way, because there are so many fans that found and fell in love with the Dave Matthews Band because of a Dave and Tim recording that they had, whether that was at Luther College or wherever, but that was their introduction into the Dave world. And so, naturally you would think one would just be like, well, of course, this is something that has been done and been very successful. Why would I even blink and think about it? But now that I have seen it, I understand. And I think it was going to take seeing it in person versus just me hearing it, as it always does, right? Like with the Dave Matthews Band, once you've seen it, you're like, oh, okay. It just makes it so different than when you're just listening to it with your ears or, watching it on YouTube. But because there's only 2 of them, it made me really focus on small things like just the position of their fingers and how Dave moves his fingers in playing the guitar. We were able to see that because where they sit on stage and the beach we're standing on is literally just kind of right there. It's just a beach party with a couple, 100 people or whatever. But with Tim too, and he really stuck out to me more than Dave did, which is not something I would have thought either, even knowing what I know about Tim Reynolds and him just being a monster on the guitar. But he is a fucking rock star. And I just, I found myself watching them and how they play and how they feed off each other and how they talk to each other when they're playing without using words, and they understand each other's body languages, or, hey, I'm going to throw in this, and the other one, just gets it. But together they are just so in sync, as if they were made to be together, made to play together, almost as if, they grew up playing together. And guess what? They did, right? Like they have grown up playing together. And you can really feel that at Dave and Tim now. And just a lot of times when I'm watching a full band show, I'm such a horn section. And then, of course, I love Buddy just because his personality is so big and he's just bebopping all over his section. So, you know, and then watching Carter, just watching everyone because they all have like these unique stage performance things that they do. So it kind of takes the focus away from me just focusing on Dave's ability to play guitar. Always knew he could play guitar, always knew that. But like he's the front man, he's the singer, right? So like I'm paying attention to him singing and listening to the full band. But at Dave and Tim, I'm really focused on his guitar playing, which again, I don't know why I was so surprised, but I had just never been able to focus in, like locked in on just him. And again, it was just more than I could have comprehended because time and time again, I hear the story that like the Dave Matthews Band doesn't come alive until you see it for real. So why was it going to be any different with Dave and Tim? You got to see it to understand it. And so if you've ever seen Dave and Tim, you know, in all of the years, you understand what we're talking about. And if you fell in love with this band because of that album, Luther College, which live at Luther College, I've heard that time and time again, that's how they found the band. You understand what we're talking about. But we're talking about like, take Luther College, because I just listened to this recently. I said, okay, I'm going to start.
Had you heard it before?
No, I had heard it before, but just going to Mexico this year, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to some Dave and Tim stuff. And of course, I was just like, let's start with that one. And while it is good, Luther College is great. And while I love it, they sound so different now. That's one thing that I really picked up on now. You know, Dave's voice has really matured, obviously, as he's aged. And Tim has gotten better. So, you know, if you love Luther College or any of the Dave and Tim things that have come out, dude, they'll blow your mind. They'll blow your mind if you went right now and saw them, because they've just only gotten better.
I agree. They've definitely aged like a fine wine. For sure.
Oh, yes. I mean, in every way, right? And
yeah.
I mean, but as one does, right? As a musician that really pours into it, and I believe that they're still studying their art, and I mean that in exact the way I said it. You know, all of them are, you know, like Jeff is very connected to universities and teaching. And so they are very involved in like learning more about their craft and working with others to pick up different ways of playing whatever instrument they play. And so they'll just continue to get better and better. And we're just so damn lucky to still be getting them. And well, you know, let's talk briefly about just 2025. Everyone's buzzing about, you know, hey, when's the schedule coming out for summer? When's the schedule? Yeah. And we keep seeing all of the festival things, which is not making me sad. I'm not sad about festivals. I'm worried because, you know, we just did Bourbon and Beyond in October, and I thought I was going to die after that festival. So festivals are just a whole different beast than a concert.
Yeah, it was really hot for Bourbon and Beyond.
So hot. And just standing for a long time. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my almost 9 years old this year. I can't believe I'm saying that body can't super handle the 3 days of getting wasty and being out in the hot sun. Like, I don't tan a tomato, so it's not like a good sun in the air.
That's
shade.
Different. That,
you know?
that needed to be like Mexico. Where was the pool in Kentucky? They needed a pool. Sure.
A mister or something. Slip and slide, anything.
Anything. Like a tree would have been great, because there were no trees. There were no trees.
I feel bad for people that didn't have a VIP, man, because they just roasted out there all day. Holy cow.
I don't know how they got through that. But, you know, festivals is what it's looking like right now for 2025. We never know. These guys are notorious for throwing stuff out and us going, oh, you know, I think they love it. I think there's a little bit of like, wait a little bit longer. They see all the chitter chatter on the internet, as Dave said, as he was getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, he knows that we're on there just begging for it. And they're just like, let's wait a little bit longer. Let's wait a little bit longer.
Like, we've seen so many different varieties of rumors, and it's supposedly it's coming out. Supposedly the tour schedule's coming out tomorrow, so they say.
Tomorrow?
I mean, yeah, the 21st.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Supposedly.
Surprise! Well, we'll see.
I mean, they always pull this shit, though, like, literally, and I'm not being negative. It's just funny. We're all in Mexico, and they announce the tour dates, and you're just like, I just finished paying off the payment plan, like.
Oh, yeah. No, that's something I wanted to talk about. If you're listening to that, that's another great thing, is Mexico has a payment plan, and that's, how does that work exactly, Kelly? I know that I have participated in it, but you were kind of the ringleader on all of the information. So how does that work?
So it's actually really easy. So you go in, you decide, like, this particular year, we decided the 4 of us are going, right? So you go in, you choose. Now, this year was the first year we couldn't choose what hotel we wanted to be at unless you were choosing like a specific package, like a VIP package, or you definitely know you wanted to stay at the Grand. Those 2 options you could choose and know where you were staying. But this year, ordinarily we were able to say, I want to be at Sunrise or I want to be at Nizuk. And you could pick that, and you could pick, I think that you might have still been able to do, but I didn't see it on our option, to be honest with you. The swim up pool option is like a higher package or whatever. But basically you just go in there on the day that it goes on sale. You would get a code if you're revisiting, if you're like a alumni. So you would be able to go in just a skosh earlier than everyone else. But the timing comes up, you go in, you pick your package, and then you pick if you want to do a payment plan or not. You can either pay the whole thing at that point, or you can do a payment plan. If you do the payment plan, I think they take out like a small percentage of whatever the total cost is, just as like a down payment, like a security deposit. And then every month after that, for 6 months, each person is X amount of dollars, depending on what package you chose.
When do tickets start usually going on sale for the next year? So, like, if you wanted to go in 2026, is it July?
It's July.
Okay. So start looking for that.
And like, especially if you're a warehouse member, it'll come up on all those, and you'll get emails and stuff. Hey, Dave and Tim, goes on sale. It was mid-July this year, I feel like. So
it seems like it sneaks around. Like, you get home and then you're getting an email about signing up to go next year, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's all moving.
That's what, like, we have our whole year already planned out. Like, if what we think is going to happen with the tour dates, we have everything planned out literally each month, like where we're going, and calculated so that we can plan, so that we can go to all these things. You know what I mean? Because that's what it takes. Like, you have to plan if you want to go to these things. You can't, like, as an adult, we each have full-time jobs. I have a second job. There's kids, there's a lot going on in sports and all that. And it's like, you have to.
It does. It takes an orchestration. It takes a lot of scheduling. Yeah.
Life's too short to pass it out. You just never know. Like,
that's right.
When, you can't do it anymore, or something happens or whatever, buy the tickets, eat the cake, drink the wine. You just never know.
What's up, everybody? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. We're a nationally touring tribute to DMB, playing shows all over the country and beyond. Our goal is to bring you back to the classic sound that you fell in love with in the 90s and the 2000s, featuring a violin, saxophone, and maybe some keyboards sprinkled in as well. You can find out information about all of our tours and shows by visiting thedmtb.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and other socials by searching the Dave Matthews Tribute Band or the DMTB. Hope to see you on the road and enjoy the Space Between podcast.
So we talked a little bit about events and things that they have. So there's a lot of unofficial events too that you're not going to see on the schedule that, may have a space in the ballroom. I think the swag and swap, is that what it's called? The swag and swap?
Yeah, just like the swag swap.
Swag swap. So this is where everybody gets together, and if you brought swag to exchange, then you can exchange with hundreds, if not it's hundreds of other fans that have also brought their swag. The stuff that people bring to Mexico, it's probably the best swag of the year, like across, people fly to a different country with bags of stuff to give away for free, and it blows my mind. So I did not go last year. I don't remember why. I know y'all stopped by last year. It's always such a massive event, and because they know that it is going to be massive again this year, they made it to the actual schedule of events that is going to be on everyone's app and stuff, and everyone will go. So Kelly, tell us about going last year. What were some cool things that you saw? Or like, for instance, I got a sunglass. It was like a little bag with a fire dancer on it, and it was like a sunglasses wipe, like if you have fingerprints on your glasses or whatever. And I was like, that's so smart, What's something cool that you got last year?
So I have to, before I go into that, I have to say real quick, my girlfriend Cassie is the reason why that swag swap got onto the page, like onto the calendar of events, if you want to call it that. Because to be honest with you, when we first started going 4 years ago now, the swag swap was not what it is now. It wasn't like not big, but it was, much smaller. And then each year after, Cassie kind of like took the reins and like made it what it was, and ended up actually getting it on the calendar of events. So she's the one that I have to give her props, because she really has taken it. And sadly, she won't be able to make it this year, so she won't even get to see the fruits of her labor. But
we will take pictures and videos.
There's a whole thing. So like, I just wanted everyone to know that she is, she's the orchestrator of that. Cassie Bray is her name. So
thank you, Cassie.
Thank her. But anyways, so some of the favorite things I've gotten over the years, definitely, I got a iWatch band last year.
What?
Which was super cool, with a dancer on it. That was probably my favorite swag of last year.
Oh my gosh.
There's a girl this year that's bringing, and I was going to pay for it, but she's bringing the clear purse that we have to bring in to every place now, with like dancer with like sequined like bejewelment on it.
Oh, wow.
She's like, I only have like 20, but I'm like, girl, I'll buy one from you. And she's saving one for me, which is so cool. Her name, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to.
Send me a picture. Maybe I need to get in on that.
Yeah, it's super cool. There's been all kinds of bracelets, all kinds of stickers. There's been hangover kits that are super fun.
Yes!
Someone brought toothbrush and toothpaste one time. That was like 1 year. I think that was the first year. That was super funny. Like the pins that people make and bring. It's like they're next level. They're like so intricate and pretty and bejeweled. And there's been people that have brought like little things for your glass, like name markers for your glass. Crazy. Those are fun. I mean, like anything individual you could ever think of. Like there was a like an eye drop kit for like stoners. You know what I mean? Like eye drop. Yeah, there was like a roach holder. It was funny. That was funny. The first year, I think. People have brought fire dancer condoms, which is pretty funny.
What? Oh my god! I mean, somebody needs it. Somebody needs it.
I mean, it's
needed.
Nice.
Yeah. What happens?
There's been, I mean, like you name it, people have made it. It's like some of the individuality has been really, really cool.
I'm excited to see what everybody is bringing this year. I found myself showing my 14-year-old daughter, actually I think it was my 13-year-old daughter who's about to be 13, showing her, because I'm in the floor. I think I sent you some videos of me like making swag and doing all of this. And she's like, why, kind of like, why are you doing all this? And I was like, I want to show you that your mom is not crazy. So I get on and I show her Facebook and I'm like, this is what people are bringing. Like I don't want to say everybody, it's not mandatory and not everyone does it. It is completely like out of the love in your heart. You don't have to do it.
Love and creativity. Yeah. Like,
you don't have to. And please go. If you didn't bring something, please still go. It's not like there are no string, like you just go and you do it. But she thought it was so cool to see some of the things that people have made, because there's some very, very talented, creative individuals. My good friend Michelle Brown is coming from Cleveland, and she literally spends like all year getting ready for the next year. She's so talented in her art, and it is all just, out of the love of her heart, just to show everybody, hey, you know what? There's people out here that care about you. So definitely don't miss that. And if you won't be there, believe me, there will be pictures all over the internet showing just cool swag that was that people have gotten. There is patio decorating contests, so people decorate their patios. I saw some really cool stuff last year, like Dave and Tim standing on the patio with like sombreros on. I mean, like I saw it all. So people, are bringing that stuff too to be part of that contest. So there's just so much going on. And so there is one thing, if you are headed to Mexico this year, I would love for you to stop by. The Space Between Podcast is actually having its own event. I didn't make it to the official schedule, but that's okay. I don't need to be on the official schedule. We'll see how it goes. So on Friday, which is night one of Dave and Tim at noon, which is right after this, why do I want to call it the swag and swap? Maybe that's I don't know why I call it that. But directly after that, meet us in the Sunrise pool near the swing bar. We will be just chilling. Drinks are on the Space Between Podcast, so come over. We'll buy you a drink. We'll float in the pool, and that's what we're going to do. We are just going to get to know everyone that has come in. If this is the first time you've ever listened to the podcast, I'd love to talk to you about just, hey, when did you meet the Dave Matthews Band? And it's all about just spreading the word. That there's a documentary being written about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band, not the Dave Matthews Band. I love them, but I'm not writing about them. I'm writing about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Look for the sign. I have a sign that will be put up near the swing bar that says the Space Between Podcast. So just look for us. There'll be a lot of us just chilling, and probably some Dave on somewhere. So definitely come by. We're going to have fun. We're going to chill and just chill. I'm so excited to chill.
And I'll tell you what, you'll get swag around the pool too. If you're first timers, swag is all over the place, not just at the swag swap. So
yeah, it's everywhere.
Be ready to accept some pretty sweet stuff.
Leave some room in your baggage, because you're coming back with more than you left with. That is a promise.
Accurate.
So guys, I hope you've enjoyed just this little chat about Mexico. I definitely encourage you, if you are going to Mexico, if you want to know some more detailed information, the pod that Jane likes just put out their Mexico how-to guide, and they really get into like some details about the music and statistics. So definitely check that one out. If you're traveling, you have lots of time to listen to podcasts. So I would check out all the Dave podcasts. There is the Corner of Gray Street. There is the pod that Jane likes. There is the Space Between Podcast. And then I think that might be it. Is that it? I think that is it. So you've got 3 to listen to while you're traveling. And if you are not going to Mexico, thanks for listening to this. Think about going next year. I think we've given everyone some good reasons to want to go, because I was a doubter. I have been on this podcast recorded saying, I don't think I'll ever go there. Number 1, it costs too much. Number 2, the full band is not there. So fast forward a few years, I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't know, because I hadn't seen it with my eyes. I'm going back for more, so I'm excited. I'm excited for that. So everyone be very safe in your travels. Kelly, thank you so much for volunteering some of your time tonight. And guys, we will be going live. Hopefully, if the internet connections are strong this year, we will be going live from the pool party. So be sure to check it out Friday at noon. Well, guys, thanks for listening to this episode. Stay tuned, as the next episode will be just like all the rest of them, which is a new person coming on the show to tell their journey with this band that they love so much, the Dave Matthews Band. And so, Kelly, again, thank you, guys. We will see you in Mexico.